Sun Tzu once said, "Victory comes from finding opportunities and problems." This is the Producers Lounge podcast, the best podcast online for tips and tricks on producing great film, television, and web content. Welcome back for Season 2, Episode 26, our Season 2 finale. On this week's episode, we're chatting with Adam Lazarre-White, who has produced feature-length films and TV movies, including Forgiveness and Just Passing Through. We discuss having a multi-pronged career, sustaining a career in Hollywood in the long term, and the important tips that guide casting. Adam went from being a college football player, to an actor, to a producer, to a small business owner, and then some. If you have any questions or suggestions as you're listening, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the episode comments. Here now is my conversation with Adam Lazarre-White. So yeah, I come here all the time. This place is great.
Yeah, I love this place. I moved.
Hi guys, how many?
2, and we like to sit around on the side.
Okay, go ahead. You can get it. You can finish right now. We'll end the server now. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I would totally get the ceviche, and then meat for the meal. You know.
Okay. I'm also on a bit of a diet. I'm trying to eat healthier, so more salads.
Yeah,
for
of
me.
course.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? So I've been extremely busy, actually. I have unlike a lot of artists in Hollywood, I have kind of a multi-pronged career. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, most people know me as an actor first, but number one, I do a tremendous amount of voice work.
Yeah.
I'm a voice actor.
I saw that. You've been in a lot of video games, actually.
Video games, but I also do a lot of narration of audiobooks.
Oh, cool.
And so I've been busy narrating 2 books in the past 3 weeks.
Okay.
I have basically a week off this. I work tomorrow and then I have the week off, and then next week I start another book.
Okay.
So that keeps me very busy because unlike a lot of other computer work when I'm at my desk, I can't multitask when you're in a vocal booth, you know what I mean? Or your phone is off, you're just doing that.
Yeah.
So then what happens is you come out of the booth and you have a lot of stuff to catch up with.
Yeah.
Because you haven't multitasked all the way most of us do all day, the way most of us do these days.
Yeah.
So it's the voice work and the narrating. I'm also a writer. During COVID, I was writing for NCIS New Orleans, and at the end of the year after COVID, 2021, and I also wrote for Vin Desil on a.
Oh wow!
This is years back on a staff for one of the kind of earlier streaming shows.
Okay.
This is more I'm gonna say 2012. It's called The Ropes. I write a lot of feature films.
Okay.
So I'm always working on my own writing projects and stuff. I'm adapting a book right now.
Oh, nice.
I'm working on another script. I also own my own acting studio where I teach acting on Monday and Tuesday nights. And so that's in full force. And so I'm busy every Monday and Tuesday night. And plus, about a day a week, I would say, if you counted up all the hours and put them in one day, it's probably an 8-hour week that I spend on my students planning their curriculum, talking to them about whatever their acting problems are, recruiting new students, or speaking to prospective students who are looking me up. And then I also coach privately, so audition coaching, people that aren't in my classes that are working actors. There are working actors in my classes, of course, but I'm saying there are other working actors that just come to me to coach for their auditions.
Right.
And that's now back to being done live and self-tapes, but I also do that on Zoom.
Right. And I imagine Zoom has opened up the market for you, you can coach people all over the world.
Yes, we did have FaceTime, and I was using FaceTime before COVID, in particular for 3 or 4 clients in New York, 2 in London. a couple in Atlanta.
Okay.
That was where there's other centers of the entertainment business. But Zoom is now so pervasive. It's a better program than Skype or FaceTime.
Yeah.
And everybody has it and uses it constantly. So there's a less resistance towards it, or people saying, "Oh, I don't want to do it on Zoom. I want to do it in person." Like now, anybody will do it on Zoom.
Right.
And in particular for auditions, which are mostly self-tapes these days, Zoom works pretty well because you're already doing a self-tape that is essentially a medium close-up, chest up to your head. That's the shot. It's this shot right here.
Right.
And I'm reading with you off camera. And as long as there's no delay in my voice for you on Zoom, it's pretty
accurate.
Pretty accurate. It's pretty useful.
Okay. Cool.
So, there's the reading, the teaching, the writing, the acting. And I'm always really working towards directing a film. Which is, hopefully we'll be directing a feature this coming year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, can you talk about that feature, or is it still under wraps?
Can't really talk about it, but it's one of the scripts that I wrote.
Got it.
We're working on securing the full budget.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
Awesome. Congratulations. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York.
Okay.
Upper West Side, Morningside Heights, Harlem area. My brother lives in Harlem. My parents live on the Upper West Side. I go back a lot. I'm going to New York next week. Then I'm going again to New York for Thanksgiving. I go to New York a lot for work. My brother runs an organization for youth in Harlem, and so I'm always there in the spring for his major fundraising event.
Okay.
They opened up a $23 or $4 million building for kids in Harlem.
Oh, wow.
This past year. They were supposed to open before COVID. Actually, it was supposed to open in 2021, in the beginning of the year. Because of COVID, it was delayed basically by a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
And opened up in the middle of 2022.
Okay.
And it's a huge accomplishment for him. But I'm also always there for work. I mean, when I go on the blacklist, or I'm meeting with the director, or I'm doing an audio book. I did an audio book there last May. I was in there.
Okay.
I was there for a week doing an audio book.
Okay.
So,
And when you were growing up, when did you catch the entertainment industry bug?
so when I was growing up in high school, I was a 3-sport athlete and a musician. And I was pretty convinced that I was going to try to be a musician, have a band, be a rock star. And then I went to college, and I was working my way through college playing in a band. I was on partial scholarship. My parents paid part, and but like spending money was what I earned playing in the band. I played football in college, and then while I was in college, because I was from New York, when I came back after freshman year, I had taken an acting class in college, and I had loved it. And then I thought, well, while I'm working over the summer, I'm going to take an acting class for the summer.
Okay.
One of my buddies was definitely already going to be an actor, and he was studying at a certain studio that was very famous, still is well known, called Terry Schreiber Studios in New York. And,
Okay.
I went there and I loved it, and I did get kind of bit by the bug there, and went back to college and used some of my electives, even though my major was government, which in most schools would be called political science, but at my school the major was called government. I used a lot of electives to take acting classes. And I had a very well-known graduate student repertory theater, and so some of the teachers were very, very fine teachers. And each summer I studied acting for the next 2 summers after my sophomore and junior year, and did jobs in the entertainment business.
Right.
because I asked my dad, who was a lawyer, civil servant, if he knew anybody who was an entertainment lawyer who might know somebody. And so the first year I actually came to LA, and I worked for the summer as a post-production assistant. I was basically a gopher, getting coffee and stuff. And then the next year I worked in New York reading scripts, writing coverage.
Oh, wow.
And studying acting.
Yeah.
And by that time I was pretty sold, and I knew that I was going to be an actor.
Okay.
As soon as I graduated the following year. I thought that I would be a musician also. And so when I first came to LA, I was in New York for a few years. I worked. I was bartending, waiting tables, and I studied acting further.
Right.
And I got my SAG after card, and I got my after card. They were separate back then. Did a play called Open Admissions. And there was actually a showcase where I did open admissions. And in my studio was Ed Norton, and he did Holden Caulfield. He did a scene from Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye.
Right.
And it was amazing. I remember in rehearsal. And we were actually the only two that got agents out of the showcase. So I was kind of on my way, and then a couple years later I came to LA. At that time in the early mid-90s, New York film and television was kind of dead. There was no TV. Like even NYPD Blue was shot in LA. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So my agent at the time, he was like, you need to go to LA for pilot season, which is like a real thing at that time. You didn't have streaming, you didn't have cable in the 90s, the last era of that. And so I came, and I was very lucky. I started working, within a year. I was on Living Single, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Martin, and then within a year and a half, I was a regular on Young Restless, which shoots here at CBS Radford. Okay. So I had one of those kind of storybook beginnings where I just started working, and I didn't have that 10-year period as an actor in my 20s trying to get an agent.
Okay. So I'm curious, did anything from your internships in terms of writing coverage or working as a post-PA gopher, did that inform anything, or did that help you in any way with your initial career in acting?
Well, certainly writing script coverage. I wrote my first screenplay that following year from that summer in college. Oh, wow. Now I never got that movie made. It's probably a pretty sophomoric script, but it certainly had an effect on me of understanding scripts. During that time, as soon as I got that job, I read Sid Field's book on screenwriting. I read another book on screenwriting, so that I was not just I went to an Ivy League school. I wasn't just a smart kid reading scripts. I also wanted to educate myself specifically about screenplays, and I think I basically read one a day. I did a script and coverage every day. Wow. So I'd read it in the morning and write the coverage in the afternoon.
That's intense, because a lot of coverage interns I know and I did, you do one a week. Yeah. So they asked more of you. I mean, maybe it wasn't every day. It was every other day. It was 3 a week. Yeah. I think it was. Now that I think about it, it was more like every other day. It was like, you'd get 2 scripts, read them over the weekend, turn in coverage for one by the end of Monday, the other by the end of Tuesday, read a script or 2 on Wednesday, turn in coverage on Thursday and Friday. It was like that. So that one definitely had an effect. And the post-production position, where I was actually working for 6 weeks here, I had 3 different placements. Oh, wow. Each for 2 weeks. The first one was just a week, and my job was to get in a golf course. This is back in this is like 1990. Right. So all of the film was like real Panavision camera film.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So what my job was for the first week was I had a golf cart and I was delivering canisters of film all over the lot. So I was literally just in the golf cart all day. You know, basically running errands.
Got it.
After the first week, they gave me this great position where I worked with this old editor named Walt Mulconnery, who had been a pretty big editor. And at that time, again, you're pre-streaming and pre-cable movies, right? So what he was doing was he was cutting movies down to be on network TV or on planes.
Versioning, yeah.
And so what they had to do at that time was to cut out bad language or sex scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you had like a rated R movie like Goodfellas, well, actually that would have come out that year basically, but yeah, so Goodfellas, let's say it came out in 1990, and then they needed a version that could go on the plane on American Airlines or could be on the movie of the week on NBC.
Yeah.
They had to cut out all the fucks and the shits. Not the blood. Not so much. Violence has not ever been a real issue for the entertainment business. It's sex and language. Plenty of blood. You can watch killing all you want. No fucking and no cursing. So I learned a lot about editing. Because as he was doing it, he would teach me about editing. And I was really just there to be his gopher. I got him coffee, I got him lunch. He asked me, go in the room and get me the blah, blah, blah. And I'd bring certain things from him to other people. Hey, take this over to blah, blah, blah. And he was literally cutting on an old editing machine, like real film. Yeah, like real film.
Yeah.
And so that was amazing, and it was inspiring, and so it very much had an effect on me as an artist. And then the last placement was the best of all. I was on a soundstage while the director, Tony Scott, who was Ridley Scott's brother, who died, Tony died 8 to 10 years ago, early, too early. He was cutting and sound designing the movie Revenge with Kevin Costner, Anthony Quinn, and Madeline Stowe. And in that one I was legit just a gopher. I was like, get coffee, get this, get that, bring this to blah, blah, blah. So I was just sitting on the soundstage most of the day watching him cut. This is back, when he could smoke his cigar on the soundstage. His perk or whatever was that he had like a big barber's chair that he sat in with his feet up and support for his head, smoking his cigar while he watched the movie. And it was an amazing experience because the creativity of the sound, especially for me as a musician, was unbelievable. Like I remember, I never forgot it, there was a scene I was watching and he had this British accent. They're more like London, they weren't like Queen's English guys, they were more like poor.
Cockney?
Yeah. It was like, right, we get a dog in the background. And so all of a sudden there was a dog. And he was like, yep, no, want a bit more like hysterical. The dog, another dog, kind of hysterical. He's like, right, so could be far away, come close, then like run away. A minute later, it happens, and I was like, holy shit. The mixers in the back doing that, picking different dogs, loops, whatever they were at the time, recordings, Foley artists. It was amazing. And it really was an experience where I think I fell in love with filmmaking, where I really realized what it was to be a film director and how much I wanted to do that. So yes, they had a big effect on me.
Nice. And then after that, you went to LA, you worked on Martin, you worked on Young and the Restless, you worked on several of those shows. And then I know in the late 90s, you actually produced 3 features in a row, one of which was an award-winning play. I'm curious how those happened.
So what happened in terms of the producing was that first it was my acting. So they wanted me to be the lead in the first of these movies.
Right.
These were movies on television that were going to be made, adapted from award-winning pieces of writing by people of color in the Midwest. And I think it wasn't definitive whether it was like a play or a novel or a short story. It was more like a literary contest.
And who first approached you about that?
So the guy who really ran the company was a guy named Jim Friedman, who ran a company that he started called the Dreambuilder Foundation. And it was really more at the beginning of a kind of diversity work. And he was behind it. He was a white guy from Cincinnati, Ohio, an amazing man, good artist, a great collaborator. We haven't talked in many years, but like if we had lived in the same city, I think we'd still be friends. He was a lot older than me, but he wasn't my parents' age, but if I was in my late 20s, he was probably 40s, like 20 years older than me maybe. And my parents were in their 50s, you know, like that. Married, kids, wonderful guy. So he approached me to be the lead in his movie. It was called Just Passin' Through. And it was, I think, an award-winning play. I think the next one was a short story, the next two maybe. And it needed to be adapted for the screen to be a 1-hour movie on the ABC affiliate in the whole middle of the country. So basically from like Chicago to Louisiana. Regional TV, it won a regional Emmy.
Okay.
So regional TV was a thing then, right? Where, for example, your local news is regional TV.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's watching KTLA News in New York.
Of course.
It's only in LA.
Right.
That's a regional show. Anything that's like back then, local channels carried those things.
Right.
And that wasn't just your news. That would also be other kinds of programming.
It could be features, it might be documentaries.
It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be documentaries, it could be interview shows, it could be like nature shows where somebody is climbing to the top of whatever the local mountain is, you know, in the wherever you are, you know, and that's going to be in Northwest Television, carried on a several network affiliates.
Right.
So that's what these movies were for. And what happened is he hired me as an actor. And as we were talking, I was talking to him about the script, which was problematic. As I was talking, he was like, well, you want to rewrite the script?
Oh.
And I said, you going to pay me? You know, and then he said, well, I don't know. And I also have to check with the writer if he wants to share writing credit, which he did. They didn't want to. It wasn't just the writer, it was also the fact that this was a young black writer, and because of the system of trying to push these young writers, they didn't want to do is then take an older person from Hollywood, even a person of color, share the writing credit.
Right.
So I said, well, what if you gave me a producing credit? Give me a producing credit, and then I'll rewrite the script, which I did. And it was excellent. According to him. And so then in that process we became very good collaborators, and he really wanted me to be more of a producer and do more than just rewrite. But even before I got to set, and he was interested in my opinions on casting and who should play my brother, and sending me, at that time it wasn't online, but if I remember correctly, he must have sent me DVDs, recordings of auditions.
Oh, okay. So you were really involved.
It was like 98.
Right.
You know? So maybe somehow he put the recordings onto DVDs, and you know what I mean, and sent them to me overnight mail, and I would watch them. And so I was really producing. And then one of my good friends at the time, who I also not so much in touch with anymore, whose name was also Adam, who looked a lot like me. Except he had straight hair. So like, you're not that different complexion-wise from me. So he was like us. And so he could be a white guy passing for black. He was a black guy passing for white. And the thing was called Just Passin' Through. It was about a brother, me, who shows up the week in D.C., the week of Martin Luther King's March on Washington, and knocks on his brother's door, who he hasn't seen in many years, who's been passing for white in D.C., has a white wife. And there's a reconciliation, and that's the story. So you needed someone that looked like me, but that could maybe pass for white.
Right.
And I happen to know a guy like that. So that was that one. And we had such a great working relationship that Jim asked me to do the same thing the following year on the next one. So I starred in it, I helped cast it, I rewrote the script, and I produced on set as a creative producer. There was no deal to be made because it was already made, with the local ABC affiliate network.
Okay.
Then the third one, I didn't act in at all because we both agreed that I shouldn't act in 3 in a row.
Right.
I rewrote the script. I helped cast it. The leads out of LA. All the rest of it was local casting.
Right.
And in each year. And in fact, it was really not leads plural. The first year, the only 2 people from LA were me and the brother. The wife and the woman that I became involved with were cast locally. Black woman, she was a model. They both did a lot of catalog modeling, like in Chicago and St. Louis and Detroit. Like that was a big thing then. I think it still is.
Thank you.
The commercial world and like catalog modeling for like Macy's or Land's End or whatever, things like that is done all over the country. It's not only done in New York and LA.
Okay.
And then a lot of local modeling too, And they were actors who, had done a lot of acting in high school or in college, but because they were local people in Ohio, Cincinnati, or Cleveland. I remember the girl who played my love interest in that first one, I feel like she was from Cleveland, not from Cincinnati. And then the second year, I played one of the cops. It was called What Angels Fear, and then a very good friend of mine, Greg Lauren, at the time, another person I'm not really in contact with anymore, this is 20 years later, 25 years later, he was very close to me. We were actually roommates.
Oh, wow.
And good friends since we had been teenagers. He's a super handsome guy. He's married to Elizabeth Berkley. They have a kid now, kids. He's a very successful fashion designer and painter. He doesn't do much acting anymore, to my knowledge. His wife, Elizabeth Berkley, does a lot of acting. She's famous from Saved by the Bell,
right,
and other things as well when she was young. And he played the other lead with me, the second film. The third film, I helped cast. One guy was a friend of mine, one guy was not a friend of mine, but was a wonderful actor, Kevin. I'm walking Kevin's last name. And this guy, Damon White.
Well, what was the most surprising thing you learned from that experience?
The surprising thing? It's an interesting question. I guess being on the other side of the camera where you're not acting, even though I was a relatively experienced young actor at that point, 28, 29 years old, was all of the hoops and hurdles that you have to get through to get the project done when things aren't working out, especially on a project that's a little lesser budgeted. Timing, weather, getting rained out of a location where you're supposed to shoot outside and having to either shoot it in a different location inside or add a day that costs the production a lot of money. Just things like that, I think, were surprising to me. Because I think even though I was young, I was a relatively experienced young Hollywood cat. I've been on camera a lot. I've worked a lot. And I wasn't at the stage in my career where I was going to be surprised. That doesn't mean I didn't learn stuff, but being surprised feels like a little different. I did learn things about producing and writing, and the rewrites of those, and what works and what doesn't, like anything else, any other experience. You always learn from experience.
What was the most important thing, then, if not surprising, that you learned from the rewrites and the other experiences?
I think I really learned how talented and amazing certain people are in LA and New York, the more trained actors. It's interesting because now there's a ton of local actors being used in a lot of different places. And sometimes you run into these amazing local actors who have great training. I remember in particular one episode of NCIS New Orleans that I was a writer on the staff, and this young woman was cast in this role in an episode that was my episode, my half. I wrote with a co-executive producer, but my personal episode where I'm credited on it. And there was this young woman, she wasn't the lead. It was actually interesting we had changed the role from a man to a woman later in the process. But she was a very crucial role. One of those roles in episodic TV where a lot of information comes through that character and the crime. And I don't know her name, but I saw her later on another show, and she was great. She was amazing. She was an amazing actress who was local, either in Louisiana or in Atlanta. But what I think I really learned that was really important in that experience was how important the training of actors is. And people don't realize, they think everybody's like born with it. They're either handsome and cute, or they're funny looking like Danny DeVito, or they're scary looking like, I don't know, the guy who plays whatever, Scary looking like William Defoe was when he was young, or something like that. But they forget how hard people work at their craft. And the guys that I brought in that carried those movies were very, very fine actors. And I think that working with the local actors was great. They themselves came up to us, and it wasn't just because they'd seen us on TV. They were really enjoying and learning and working with us. It's like playing basketball with like really good players, like you gain from it. And I remember when one of the women came up and complimented us both and said how much she was excited and learning and stuff. And I thought to myself, oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I think that was important, kind of validated what I'd done with my life, studying acting in New York, and studying acting in LA, and trying to be the best, finest artist I could be, and not just get on TV, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that now it's much easier for people all over the world, as you said, on Zoom, to study with great teachers, anywhere. You can study with great teachers that are from London, New York, LA, Chicago, wherever the best teachers are, you can study with them, and at least in one part or another, over Zoom. And acting really is like sports, using the basketball metaphor again. You can't really do it, in my opinion, over Zoom. You can kind of do a half version of it.
Right.
But it's something that's done in person. And it's either watched on stage or it's captured by a camera. But the two people in front of the camera are live with each other, having a real human exchange.
So then after you produced these 3 features for local television, you then went on to have a very successful acting career. I'm curious, I always want to ask this, but like, what was your experience in Hollywood as an actor of color?
Well, it's interesting because that time period that you're just talking about when I was producing is kind of when it started to change. Right around 2000. I had a combination experience in the 90s. On the one hand, I was relatively successful. I was very, very lucky. I worked a lot. But the reality and the fact is that I only worked with black people.
Right.
So I worked on Living Single, I worked on Hank Mr. Cooper, I worked on Martin, even on The Young and the Restless. In the 80s and before, there were basically no black people on soap operas. There might have been an occasional, every other soap, there might have been a black character.
Right.
On Young and the Restless, there had been one that was the guy who preceded me.
in the role of Nathan Hastings. There were actually 2 actors that played him during the 80s. Same role. They did this in soaps then. And then a guy who I ended up working with came on the show, Christophe St. John, who passed away. He was a wonderful man. He passed away a few years ago during COVID. And then a couple others came on. So by the time I came on, just a month or 2 after Shamar Moore, who's now the lead of SWAT and was on Criminal Minds for many years.
Right.
When Shamar and I came on, there were already 3 actors of color on that show. And so all of a sudden, the Young and the Restless, and they should be given credit, had a full storyline that was black.
Right.
Had 5, young, powerful, romantic leading characters that were not like the maid or the assistant. They were full romantic leading characters on soap operas. No other show had that. No other drama on network TV at primetime. No other. I'm not talking about a black show, not a black sitcom. That's not what I'm talking about. There have always been black sitcoms. The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son. Then in the 80s, you have Cosby Show. You have Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
You have a couple. But what happened in the 90s is that soap operas got black characters. Most of the other soaps only had 1 or 2. But the Young and Restless had 6, really. If you count My Little Kid and the babies, it was more. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, UPN came out, which was a cable network that was carrying black sitcoms. And Moesha, all of those shows, I think, Hang with Mr. Cooper or Martin. That might have been Fox, I can't remember. But there was this explosion in black sitcoms where instead of having 2 on television, you had 9 or 10. And you had black characters in sitcoms. In network television, you still had what I would refer to as token characters. So on NYPD Blue, which is a cop station, you had 1 black character, Lieutenant Fancy. On ER, which is an emergency room, you had 1 black character, Eric LaSalle. On West Wing, you had 1 black character, Dule Hill.
Right.
And then in the 90s, in the early 2000s, what happened, and it happened for women, and it happened for people of color. In the early 2000s, you had mature, I put that in air quotes, I want people to know I'm putting that on air quotes, mature women leading shows in roles that women generally didn't get in the past.
Right.
You had Amy Brenneman on Judging Amen, you had Kira Sedgwick on The Closer, you had that show Cold Case, you had a whole bunch of shows where women that were basically over 40 were the lead. They were the judge, the cop, the doctor.
Right.
That hadn't happened yet. At the same time...
Are we doing here? Everything good?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the same time, Shonda Rhimes got her pilot Grey's Anatomy made. And for the very first time, at least in my knowledge, you had a multicultural drama on primetime TV where you had black, white, Asian, and Latin characters mixed together in multiple numbers. You had gay characters and straight characters. And it's particularly in the first season, while you had a white woman lead who was Ellen Pompeo, her best friend was Asian. Her Asian best friend's boyfriend was black.
Right.
Her boyfriend was white. The bone doctor was a gay Latino woman. And then you had other white characters. The head of surgery was black. The attending surgeon who was teaching everybody was a black woman. It was a totally multicultural show. It didn't exist up until then.
Right.
And then her next show was Private Practice. It was the same way with Amy Brenneman, with Taye Diggs, and with Audra McDonald, and with Tim Daly. They had a totally multicultural cast. Again, a white woman was in the lead. The third show, Scandal, black woman in the lead, Kerry Washington. But the same thing. She's having an affair with the white president. The people on her unit, it's a Latino guy, a black guy, 2 white women. The fourth show, How to Get Away with Murder, black woman lead, Viola Davis, but all the young students that work for her, she's got a Latin woman, a black woman, a white woman, a white guy, and a black guy, you know what I mean? And then she just changed the game. Shonda Rhimes changed the game.
Right.
And at the same time as Shonda Rhimes is doing that on network TV, HBO is hitting the airwaves with The Sopranos, The Wire, Sex and the City. Shortly after that, Showtime's first brand was to be the Diversity Network. They didn't call it that.
Yeah.
They had the Black Show, Soul Food. They had the Latin Show, Resurrection Boulevard, and they had the Gay Show, Queer as Folk.
And wasn't the L Word also on there?
And the L Word too,
Yeah.
which was the second gay show. So they then changed their brand. Maybe didn't make enough money doing that, and they became more of like an anti-hero brand where you had Californication, Nurse Jackie, and the other one. What was the other anti-hero one? I don't know, United Personalities of Tara. There had all these shows where the character, Homeland. So on Homeland, you had a woman who was essentially schizophrenic and a problem. You had a drug addict in Nurse Jackie. You had a sex addict in Californication. And whereas on HBO, they were doing, everything from Boardwalk Empire and The Wire gangster stuff, The Sopranos, but they were also doing, the one about the funeral home.
6 Feet Under.
6 Feet Under, which is amazing. And so cable hit. And that's the first 10 years of the 2000s. But it also increased diversity because HBO was also doing biopics that weren't getting made in the studio. So what did they do? They did Dorothy Dandridge with Halle Berry. They did what was called Boycott, which was a Martin Luther King story with Jeffrey Wright. They also did RKO with Liev Schreiber. They didn't only do that, but they were doing that. And so the diversity exploded in 2000 to 2010.
Right.
So all of that to say, my experience was very different in the 90s than it was in the 2000s.
Right.
And it increased in the 2000s where I was no longer only working with black people. So my appearance on Grey's Anatomy or my appearance on Private Practice, and I worked on those Shonda Rhimes shows, or my recurring role on Heroes, which was incredibly fun, was with multicultural casts.
Right.
I was working with anybody. And it's not that I didn't like working with black people in the 90s. I'm just telling you a fact that I didn't have any scenes with white people except my boss on the Young Restless. I had a number of scenes with him, Doug Davidson, who's an incredible actor, who's been on a soap for like 40 years.
Right.
One of the best actors I've ever worked with, and one of the best men. An amazing man. And we're not friends anymore. He doesn't know me, but I hope someday he hears me that I said that. He was a great guy, and he was also 20 years older than me. He's in his 40s, and he was one of those people that, helped me along and taught me the ropes, and was one of my actor mentors when I was a very, very young actor. I was only 23, 24, 25, 26 on that show.
Right.
So the thing about being of color, and then it changed more in my more middle-aged years, in my 40s. In the last 10 years, you have a whole new business where 12 Years a Slave and Hidden Figures and 42 and all the biopics were made. Back in the early 2000s, Tyler Perry was making his movies for Lionsgate. They were budgeted at $7-8 million. They weren't making movies with black leads for $50-100 million, unless it was one of two people, Will Smith or Denzel Washington. That's it. And then it changed. And of course, the biggest change was the first real, what they call tentpole 4-quadrant movie, which was Panther. That changed everything. But 12 Years a Slave and Hidden Figures and Moonlight, that won an Academy Award, and movies like that, they really changed the game on the backs of what had happened in television. Because you wouldn't have Empire on television if you hadn't had Shonda Rhimes. Without Shonda Rhimes, there's no Empire. Without Empire, there's probably no Panther. Why? Because Empire was literally, for a year or two, the most popular show on television. Not the most popular black show, the most popular show in prime time. Once those things started happening, it proved that the whole past was a lie. That white people and other people wouldn't watch black leads, and therefore we can't budget enough money to make projects with black leads that are full budget whatever that is, $10 million an episode or $100 million, because we can't sell it to the public. That was not true.
Right. And there's a cultural and economic impact to all of that as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Because as soon as they started doing it, it sold. So that means it would have sold in 1995 as much as 2008.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. And then after that, you mentioned, moving into your middle age. Most recently, you've actually produced another feature about a very controversial creature.
Yeah.
And also, Dendry is in that as well.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, what was that experience like?
So my friend E.C.A.C, who's a wonderful producer who had produced kind of a cult favorite called Next Day Air, we met before he produced that. We've been friends for 20 years. After I had done, which I neglected to mention earlier, one of my biggest credits in the late 90s was an Emmy Award-winning miniseries called The Temptations, which people still watch on VH1 and MTV about the Temptations, and I was the bad guy, the drug dealer who kind of ruined the band. I was obviously a composite figure to all the druggy people that were around music stars in that time.
Right.
But
Still an ongoing problem.
Yeah, but I got a lot of attention for that role, and that movie won Alan Arkish, I believe, the director's Emmy that year, 98 or 99. And after that, I stayed very good friends with the lead of that, which is Malik Whitfield, who played Otis, the leader of the Temptations. And we played in a touch football league and flag football league, and one of his friends was E.C.A.C. So we met right after that in like 99 or 2000. We've been friends over 20 years.
Right.
He was a producer. He's also an actor. He's a very good actor. But his producing career really took off in a way more than his acting career because of Next Day Air. And then he was working as a producer with the big-time director F. Gary Gray. And he was one of the producers on Straight Outta Compton. Out of Straight Outta Compton, this is all going towards Forgiveness, which is the movie I produced.
Right.
Straight Outta Compton, he met Dr. Dre. And for the last, ever since Straight Outta Compton, I don't know when that came out, 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
He's been one of the lead producers for Dre's company. Kind of coincided with his own company. So at that time, around that time, he was producing a movie for a guy named Hak Kalfani, who had a lot of experience directing rap and music videos, who was directing a feature about a controversial preacher. And E.C.A.C reached out to Richard T. Jones and to me to play Richard to play the preacher, and for me to play the cop who kind of takes him down in Jackson, Mississippi.
Right.
And so, again, the producing effort started with them reaching out to me as an actor, and then me working with Hak Kalfani on writing the script.
Okay.
Which I was paid for as a rewrite. And then my efforts to help not only with the script, but with all of the elements of production for this relatively low-budget movie.
Right.
That was totally independently produced by a contact of Hawk's, a guy named Donald Pugh. So in those situations when you're doing independent film, often a number of people have to wear a lot of hats. I was one of those people who wore a lot of hats. So I was the second lead of the movie. I had rewritten the script with Hawk. It was just the two of us, really. Notes from E.C.A.C, who's a very creative producer. But then I got involved in other elements of production.
Right.
The first, which always seems to be something that I help with because of my contacts with actors, was casting. So I helped cast Richard's wife, the first lady of the church, with a wonderful actress named Robin Lee. The judge at the big court case was a contact of mine from the wonderful theater company Circle Rep, very famous in the 70s and 80s. Circle Rep, repertory theater. It birthed William Hurt and Holly Hunter and Judd Hirsch. And one of the actors that was of that era was a guy named Lindsay Ginter, or he's listed on IMDb as LL Ginter. He's been on a million shows, like Lost and whatever, he's got a million credits. And I got him to play the judge,
they needed a therapist for the preacher and his wife, and that's the part Jenji Taylor played, who's my wife, my real wife, who's a wonderful actress.
Right.
A lot of people may know from Sons of Anarchy or The Fighter or more recently The Morning Show or Pam and Tommy. She's an amazing actress. So she played the therapist. And I can't even remember some of the other parts I probably helped cast. And then even in production, I remember I helped cast a lot of the background players out of my acting school with young actors who needed on-set experience. But that's not just a casting thing, that's more of a production thing. And then locations and style, and certainly after E.C.A.C, I was probably Huck's next stop for like a creative conversation when he needed one. I mean, he's the director.
As a confidant and a sounding board.
Yeah, and there's no director that doesn't do that with somebody. You know, who that person is or who those people are. Every set probably differs. Sometimes it's the producer, sometimes it's the AD, sometimes it's the star who's a big name and also a producer, director, him or herself. Sometimes it's the writer, you know. But I think in that situation, it was probably E.C.A.C and myself, and maybe Richard, but I don't think he leaned on Richard the way he leaned on me and E.C.A.C. So I produced that film. It was called Forgiveness. It went to many, many festivals. Mostly black film festivals.
And it won a lot of awards.
It won a lot of awards at a lot of festivals. Most notably, it won a very important prize at the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival, which is a big-time festival, which is called the HBO Prize, which is basically the best feature film that doesn't win feature film. It's kind of like the audience prize. It's like, a lot of film festival. It's like the other film that everybody loved the most. And it gets the director some attention. I can't remember what, at HBO or somewhere. But I think the real big one was that we swept the San Diego Film Festival.
Right.
So I won Best Supporting Actor, Robin Lee won Best Supporting Actress, Richard T. Jones won Best Actor, Hawk won Best Director, and it won Best Film, which obviously then goes to E.C.A.C Clemens, who is the lead producer of the film.
Right.
So like everybody won.
Nice.
And but that was just of many. So that was an amazing experience. It was an amazing role, working with Richard, who was my scene partner in a number of scenes. Malik Whitfield played my partner, who again is the friend of E.C.A.C and myself. Played my partner as the cop. I helped cast the captain with a wonderful older black actor. So my scene partners were all like my friend Richard T. Jones, my friend Malik, this other guy who's a friend of mine. And Richard was an amazing actor. And you know, when they needed flashbacks to my family who had been killed, my daughters and my wife, I cast those, you know, a wonderful actress, Bonita Knoll. And so that was an amazing experience where I got to wear a lot of hats and be heavily involved, learned a lot. Learned a lot of things not to do, learned some tough lessons in our production. Some decisions that weren't even mine, but I just learned didn't work out watching, being close to the decisions. I learned things that if on the next production I wouldn't do, you know. But mostly it was an incredible experience creatively with me and Hawk, with me and Richard, with me and E.C.A.C, with me and Malik, and all the people that I cast that did such a wonderful job on set. And there was a woman named Maya who played the woman who kind of runs the church. And she's now married to Rockman Dunbar, who's a wonderful actor, kind of contemporary of mine. Right. And they are making movies of their own. Nice. Maya, I think she goes by Dunbar now. That's why I'm hesitating on her last name. Is a great actress, and we had great scenes in the movie. And so it was just a great experience all around creatively. Okay. So let me ask, you played all of these festivals, you swept all of these festivals. There are a lot of people out there who maybe they have a finished feature or even a finished short,
and they want to get it into a lot of great festivals. Besides the obvious advice of create a film that's good, a good product, did you and your team use any strategies in terms of doing specific things with a publicist or press releases or personal contacts?
It's really a better question for Hawk Kalfani, because by that point, I had stepped away into all the other things I was doing in my career. I wasn't working on the festival submission process at all. But I will say this overall.
Right.
It's not a coincidence that he applied to essentially every big black film festival in the country.
Right.
It was a primarily black film. It was led by Richard T. Jones, myself, and Robin Lee, who were all to varying degrees, and Malik. I mean, even if you look at the poster, those are the four faces on the poster.
Right.
We were all recognizable black actors, and that's who he was selling to.
Okay.
And so that was a particular circumstance.
Okay.
If you weren't working on that sort of, like if you're making a movie about LGBTQ, or if you're working on a movie that's about women's issues, or perhaps about rape survivors, or whatever it may be, or about immigration, you're going to have a much more specific sort of focus on like what film festivals you're applying to, what sort of grants you're applying for, what sort of publicity you're applying to, where you're asking for publicity to build a buzz. And nowadays, which didn't exist to the same degree 10 years ago when we were first working on that film, social media and how you use that is incredibly important for how you publicize your film. You know, a publicist is $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. Nowadays, social media is free, and if you, one thing I would suggest to anybody that's low on budget is much cheaper to find a social media expert who you're paying, let's say, $500 a week to work for you part time for a month, where you're spending $2,000 total for a month for someone to blitz social media for you as you're applying to film festivals, so that your trailer is everywhere and people's like, well, this hasn't premiered anywhere, which is usually the role for a film festival. Sometimes they have a rule like it can't have been seen anywhere. That doesn't mean it can't have been publicized.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it can't have been publicized as part of the festival.
That's very good. That's very good advice.
So I think social media for any young artist is very important.
So then let me ask you.
Any artist.
Yes. So you mentioned earlier that you're doing a lot. You're producing, you're writing, you're acting, you're teaching. What tips and tricks do you use for yourself to balance all of that, since you've got so many hands in the fire at any given time?
Well, the truth is that a lot of times it's defined for me, because acting jobs, voice acting jobs, when they come, because I don't generate them,
right,
and they're relatively high paying, especially the acting on camera, they immediately take priority.
Right.
So if I'm working on writing a script of my own, and I'm teaching that week, and then I get a call that says, like, I just auditioned for this TV show. It's at least one episode, might be 3 episodes. Shoots in LA, so I wouldn't have to travel. But if they call and they say, you booked the job, you're working next week. What days am I working? Oh, you have a fitting on Monday, you're working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday off. The following week you work Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
That's it. That's what I'm doing. It takes priority. Everything else gets pushed back.
Right.
In the same way, to a lesser degree, because it's frankly less money per hour per day, if I'm narrating a book. Right. Working on something that's unpaid, or even my teaching, during the day, which doesn't, it's a great thing about my teaching is that I teach at night, so it doesn't actually affect my classes. It might affect the hours that I can work during the day while I'm narrating, but it's just between me and me. I can work on the weekend to catch up. Right. When I'm not narrating on Saturday and Sunday, I can do all the work I need to do for my acting classes and catch up by the next week. So in that way, sometimes it's defined by the work itself. Right. If I were to get my directing my film off the ground, or if I were to be producing a film where I was actually on set, where I was getting paid to direct, and even if I wasn't getting paid to direct, if I were doing, let's say, a film that I was making for, let's just say, like the lowest budget I could imagine.
Right.
You know, like, I'm not talking about $5,000. I mean, like a movie where I can pay the actors, pay the crew,
Right.
even if I'm not getting paid as a writer-director, which a lot of writer-directors do for their feature.
Right.
Let's say I had $400,000. So every crew member's getting paid, every actor's getting paid, everybody's getting fed, there's a costumer and their trailers and there's all the like normal things of a low-budget production. You're shooting 21 days, whatever it is. Even if I wasn't getting paid, if I were directing a feature, because of the long-term effect on my career, and most importantly, because of my artistic interest, everything else would take a backseat. That doesn't mean I wouldn't act if I couldn't. So like in pre-production, because if you're only doing 21-day shoot, if I'm in pre-production or post-production and I get a call to act for $10,000 a week and I have 4 days to shoot on whatever show, you know, All American, or NCIS New Orleans, which isn't on TV anymore, on NCIS. I can take 4 days off from editing to go act, then come back to my editing on my feature, you know. So it's really just those days on set in production where you cannot walk away. And those days, whatever they would be, 15 days shooting, 21 days shooting, 30 days shooting, those days would be prioritized.
Okay.
But I think the question you're really asking is, if you have multiple things, how do you manage it in your mind?
Right.
And I think that for me, not everybody is a great multitasker. Some people are better at doing one thing. Or one thing at a time. I happen to be a person who's always done that in my life, not just this business. I played 3 sports, and I played in the jazz band in high school. When I went to college, I was recruited for baseball and football, but I played football. My freshman year, I was playing in the jazz band. Not just my freshman year, but I'm saying I made it to the jazz band. At the same time, I actually got into a play my freshman year, but my advisor told me, I don't think it's a good idea for you to do the play with football and the jazz band for your studies, so I didn't. But I was always a person who did this kind of thing. I did multiple things. So the fact that I was doing it in as a young man, writing and acting, then writing and acting and producing, writing and acting and directing, then writing and acting and directing and teaching and producing, was kind of typical of my personality. And the only part of it that sometimes gets a little schizophrenic is if you're writing, for me, if I'm writing multiple things at the same time. It's hard to be in those multiple headspaces. You can do one and then do another. So you can finish a rewrite for a week and then move to the next thing, finish that rewrite, then move to the next thing. It's very hard for me to multitask those. The acting and the voice work, that comes as it comes. And I think if I were directing a film or lead producing a film, that would dominate everything. So it's more about, it's a different combination. And the teaching is something I've always done, that's always been, and for lack of a better term, it's my side hustle, just because it's a 2-day-a-week at-night job that doesn't interfere generally with my other work. And if my other work interferes with it, if I go on location, which I do sometimes, then it's one of my big jobs is to set up an incredibly exciting curriculum for my students while I'm gone. So if I'm only gone for a week because I'm going to shoot, like a show in Vancouver for a week, or I'm going to miss one class or 2 classes, one of each class, I just need to get a sub for that night. But if I'm going on location for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, now I build something for 2 months for students. I bring in a casting director one night to do a casting workshop. I bring an audition specialist to do audition workshop for 2 weeks. Bring a Shakespeare specialist everybody works on a sonnet or a monologue or a scene for a night or 2 nights. I bring in a working director who I know, a film director, who directs film scenes that they like in the class for 2 weeks. One time I brought in a fight coordinator, a female stunt woman fight coordinator, to teach everybody stage violence, and you know what I mean, so that it can be a very exciting curriculum while I'm gone. They're not going to get bored. They're going to gain every week.
Right.
And you know, and that's part of my job is like, oh, Adam's gone, so there needs to be 6 amazing weeks that nobody wants to miss.
Right.
So I do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is Season 2, Episode 26 of the Producers Lounge podcast. Thank you to my guest, Adam Lazarre-White, for joining us. You can find out more about him by checking out the show notes and by visiting our website at greaterandgrander.com. As I mentioned in our intro, this is the Season 2 finale, and I want to thank all the amazing producers, content creators, and herders of cats that joined us for these interviews. It's been an honor and a pleasure. But this is not the end of the Producers Lounge podcast, not by a long shot. We are already hard at work on Season 3 with guests who have produced for Disney, Google, and even virtual reality. We have a lot coming down the pipeline for 2023, including publishing a book and also producing a feature film. So stay up to date by following us on social media at the handle Greater Grander. That's Greater Grander, all one word. Our intro and outro music today was Snowbound by Dennis Mitchelltree. Our episode still image is by Ricardo Tomas on Greater and Grander. Make sure to subscribe wherever fine podcasts are found, and also, if you like what we do, share this podcast with a friend group or community who you think will enjoy it. Join us next season for more cocktails and questions, and until then, keep producing dreams.